Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. This morning I asked you guys, what video do you want to see next in my YouTube community tab? Thank you for the feedback, guys. A lot of you voted, and pretty overwhelmingly you wanted to see the Hog Exenado deck, which might be the best Hog deck ever. And I hate to be hyperbolic, but the reason I say that isn't necessarily indicative of the strength of the Hog Rider, but rather indicative of the strength of the Tornado and the Executioner. So what side of the aisle are you guys on? Do you want to see an Executioner or Tornado or both nerf? Or are you totally cool with them being relatively strong, or some would argue incredibly OP in the meta and in the game in general? Either way, this is the deck that we'll be sharing today. You guys wanted to see it, and it's a really strong deck. Let me talk about substitutions right off the bat here, because it's a really awesome ladder deck. It also works great in challenges. So, but we're going to be focusing mainly on ladder again here on CWA until the end of this season. So this is the deck. If you don't have guards, or if they're not leveled up, pretty much most of you probably have them, right? But if they're not leveled up enough, you can definitely sub in your Goblin Gang or Goblins, depending if you want that 2 or 3 elixir cost. If you don't have log, easy sub. Zap works great in this deck. Zap synergizes very well with Ice Golem, Ice Spirit, and Tornado, so you're looking good there too. Executioner is going to be very tough to substitute in this deck, unfortunately. He's really the main carrier of your defense in this deck, and he makes for some decent counter pushes at times as well. So that's pretty much the substitution. Oh, Fireball. You can sub in Fireball for poison as well. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a max poison and you're around maybe 4,000 trophies or higher, I might go with Fireball over the poison. So those are the subs, guys. Let's go ahead and hop into the replays here. I do have to give a huge shout out to Kuwait Team. I'll link their Twitter and information in the description below. And Beast, who is the pusher for the Abdallah Bohammed account here. Quite a mouthful for me and my American tongue. You can see just an absolute beast profile here. Not a 20-game winner, but he's maxed out. He didn't even play in the 20-win challenge on this account. But of course, he is a 20-game winner on his personal account here, as you can see at the bottom. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's hop right into the first replay here, guys. This is going to be some really great content. We're going to be focusing on some strategy keys to give you guys success for really any Hog Exenado deck that you want to pick up, and even really any Exenado deck, period, that you guys want to play. There's also like Balloon Exenado cycle decks going around and stuff like that. It's just a really strong lethal combination. And the first thing I do want to talk about, as you can see, immediately going up against AY is God, who is actually, I believe it's Samuel on the account this season. Either way, all of these opponents are going to be contracted pro 20-game winning players. So great caliber of gameplay for you guys. Just misses the King Tower activation, which is really a specialty of the Beast, using it in kind of unorthodox situations, activating the King Tower, I should say, with the NATO, and he just misses that one with the Bandit. A tricky activation, though, that was, if he had pulled it off. So while we, one thing to note here is we're going to cycle the log, and against 3 Musketeers, you're always going to want to use your spell against their pump, especially in the first 2 minutes of the game. You never save your spell for the 3 Musketeers. You always use it on the pump, because you can't allow them to keep cycling pumps if you never punish them, and then they'll have a huge elixir advantage and you'll definitely lose. So the thing I want to talk about with the Executioner, it's really important, and I see people making this mistake all the time, right? And it's not placing their Executioner in the correct position given the circumstance. So what do I mean by that? I rarely see non-pro players, which I am included here, not trying to pick on anybody. I rarely see them place the Executioner correctly in front of the Princess Tower. Now, you're not going to want to do that in all circumstances, but if say they have a giant and you use your log is out of rotation, so they have giant Goblin Gang and your log is not in cycle, where are you going to place your Executioner? You got it. All right, I heard one of you guys get it right. Oh man, that was the dumbest thing I've ever done. All right, so you place it in front of your Princess Tower, directly in front, and that's going to kill all the Goblin Gang without having to make you use your Tornado, okay? And a lot of times, in other situations too, like against Bridge Spam, against a Battle Ram in Minions, or whatever, Battle Ram Minion Horde against the 3 Musketeer deck, oftentimes you can just clean the whole push out with an Executioner without having to use Tornado, just by placing him in front of the Princess Tower. I see some people placing him like a Musketeer in a Hog Cycle deck, more towards the center of the arena or way off to the side, and that's oftentimes just causing you to have to use the Tornado when it's not necessary. You can save 3 elixir and save your Tornado for, more defense, or to use heck offensively, or just saving 3 elixir is good no matter what, right? So just something that you guys are going to want to notice, and you can see right here, actually. I'll just pause real quickly, and you can see this is the circumstance we're talking about here, placing the Executioner directly in front of that King Tower. Granted, it's at the end of this match here, but you guys get the placement, right? That's key there, and it can totally shut down a push. So let's go ahead and move on to the next replay, and we'll see what we'll be going against here. It's definitely, okay, let's see. It's another Hog deck. So the Hog Lumberjack deck is really cool, and it's still being played at the very top of ladder, which is awesome, right? And this is a Hog v Hog matchup, and it's another thing that we don't talk about a lot here, but we should. You should always know, like, the first deck that you should practice against when picking up a new deck is probably going to be the mirror matchup, because you're always going to want to win the mirror matchup. Even though this isn't a mirror, in the true sense of the word, it's different decks, but the same win condition. You really ought to know how to play against every win condition, and check this out right here, guys. This is a really awesome King Tower activation by Beast. You can see, even with all the guards there and all that mess coming in, he still gets that King Tower activation, mitigating the Hog to just 1 hit against that left tower, and just a really, really nice play. He does have maybe a 1 elixir disadvantage now, so the opponent, Silver, will actually act first here, but we have the advantage definitely going in, because we get the first King Tower activation, and we go ahead and send in a Hog, and the opponent doesn't have NATO, and that's gonna come in, that's gonna come in handy for us. We don't have to worry about that. So here comes another counter push here. You're gonna see some great defense by Beast throughout this match, and one example here is just doing a great job using the Ice Golem to kite troops, and that's something that everybody should be doing no matter what deck you're playing. It's just doing a good job kiting troops, placing the Ice Golem in the opposite lane, right at the top of your side of the arena. It's just like, it's an obvious move. You guys already know it. I don't have to tell you like it's new information, but it's just so strong. And you want to do that in so many different situations, whether it be an incoming Lumberjack like we just saw, or whether it be a big Golem push, like Golem double Prince. You can pull both of those Princes into the opposite lane and give you much more flexibility in space on your side of the arena, using the whole space to play some really smart defense after that. So it's really a crucial part of this deck, is understanding that you're going to need to save that Ice Golem to kite in a lot of different scenarios. So check this out. We have an Inferno Dragon going down the right lane. We have a Hog Lumberjack going down the left lane. I wasn't sure if those guards were ours or his for a second there, but they're red. Okay, we got it. So Inferno Dragon does lock onto that tower, but it's not going to get any damage. We pre-log there. Beautiful pre-log. Didn't catch the Ice Spirit, unfortunately, but we still get a little bit of tower damage. You can never really get negative value with a log, because you're always going to get the tower damage, hopefully, as long as you play it correctly. So look at this. This is good defense here, guys. A NATO to stop the Inferno D and the Hog in the left lane. We really hold that Hog just to 1 swing on that left tower, and we clean up that whole push very nicely. We get a swing of our own on his left tower, taking it down to 1248, and then we play the Executioner in front of the King Tower. He does use the Fireball, but it doesn't matter. We're able to distract that Inferno Dragon, allowing our Executioner more time to kill it with the Ice Spirit, Ice Golem combo, and then we get a poison down on the next Inferno Dragon, again trying to protect that Executioner. Another theme that we should discuss, I would be remiss if I didn't mention to you guys, is protecting your Executioner similar to the way that you would, even more than the way that you would, with a Princess and a bait deck. Keeping that Executioner alive and getting as much value as you possibly can for the 5 elixir that you invested on him is crucial when playing this deck. So let's go ahead and watch the third replay here. He actually shared a replay against an Expo matchup up here as well. Let's see if this guy was any good. A 20-game winner, but it was, and he said it was a difficult matchup, but the guy made so many mistakes. No offense to him at all. But I will show you that at the end, just in double time. But the guy, like I said, he made a lot of mistakes. So let's go ahead. Oh, my boy Morton. My boy Morton. If you guys are curious, I shared this video yesterday in case you missed it on this giant deck, which I truly think is the easiest deck to push with for every arena level, you know, like, or for arena for 2600 and above or whatever, 2800, I don't know what it is. But it's a solid deck. But I mentioned in yesterday's video that unfortunately, you know, when you invite a bunch of pros at the same time, hey, at the top of the ladder, sometimes they face one another, and we got Beast got the better of Morton in this replay. So let's see how he handled this giant, or Goizen, I should say, double Prince, kind of zappy bait type deck. And we're gonna go ahead, and I'm not sure if he knows, if Beast knows what deck that he's playing right off the bat here, but we're gonna see how he handled this matchup. And we talked about it yesterday on that video, but Morton's gonna start out with Spirit Goblins at the bridge. It's his favorite play, and it kind of struck me as interesting. Oftentimes, me personally, I'll just ignore that play and I won't answer it. I'll allow them like the couple hundred damage of chip damage, and then I'll try to take advantage of that 2 elixir. But I noticed that Beast, he responds to the Spirit Goblins with guards or whatever. He doesn't want to take that incidental damage. So it's just something to note for you guys at home if you want to kind of copy his play style. So here we go. It's Executioner behind the King Tower into the same lane as what should be a big push incoming. So we have the Executioner already protected by the Ice Golem, and the Ice Spirit's going to freeze both the Prince and the Giant coming down. Now, the beautiful thing about this, in the Prince and Bridge Spam heavy meta, is we're going to get a lot of value out of the guards protecting against the Prince, and you can see just a beautiful sequence there defensively for us. And then we have the surviving Executioner, and we send in the Hog Rider there. Those bats are going to be one-shot by the Executioner. Meanwhile, the Hog gets a couple hits on that left tower, putting us in the early advantage in this matchup here. So this time, against the Dark Prince, when he doesn't have his shield, you don't have to kite him. You can just place the Ice Golem exactly where Beast dropped him, and then you don't need to kite him to the opposite lane, just FYI. So a little bit more chip damage with that Ice Spirit, and again, we're just going to kind of rinse and repeat here. We have the Executioner again. This time we don't have an Ice Golem kind of guarding him, but in the right lane, we're just going to let this go this time because we knew he had a little bit of an elixir advantage. So we're going to force a poison out of our opponent here because he didn't have Dark Prince in cycle there. So then he drops the Dark Prince after the poison, but at this point, we already have Ice Golem back to block for the Executioner again. Just keeping that Executioner alive is so crucial there, and we barely just lose him here. And then a rare mistake here from Beast. He misses on that log on that Dark Prince. We wanted tower value. And again here, guys, you know, at the risk of pointing it out again and again and again, we see the Executioner play directly in front of the King Tower. It allowed him to take out the Goblin Gang and then use the NATO afterwards. So he didn't have to use the NATO on the first sequence. He waited till the Spirit Goblins were dropped, then he pulled everything together, and then we had an elixir advantage. We were able to cash that in on the Hog push in the left lane, taking that left tower down to 652. So now we have guards again in cycle, ready for that Prince. Morton must be pretty frustrated right now because we always seem to have a really great response to whatever he throws at us. And again, we're going to go ahead and place that Executioner directly in front of the Princess Tower on the right lane. And then we're going to go ahead and use guards, I believe, in log. Actually, poison, I take that back. A nice defensive poison there to kind of seal the deal on the right lane. Of course, we do take 1 Prince stab, but it's not a big deal. It's going to be a good Hog stop right here. Look at that. Zap, Spirit Goblins, and Dark Prince all kind of joining together to stop that Hog, prevent him from getting even 1 hit on that tower. Now, what would be the scenario where you're not going to want to place your Executioner in front of the Princess Tower? Well, quite obviously, to many of you, it's going to be if they have a rocket, right? If they have a rocket, you're not going to want to place him directly on top of your Princess Tower, so just be careful of that. There always is exceptions to every rule, so just, you know, kind of be aware of these things. Against heavier matchups, Beatdown Golem, Lava Hound Beatdown, Lava Loon, you're going to absolutely shred with this deck with Executioner NATO, so I don't think it even really is worth going over. That's going to do it for today's video. If you want to check out all of Abdullah Bahamid's, or aka the Beast stats, I'll include that in the link in the description below, along with the social media for the Kuwait team. I want to give them a shout out again, along with my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. Check out his information as well in the description below. Guys, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and as always, take care, guys.